Should you buy the Genesis GV80 or should you buy this instead for $25,000 less? This is the 2025 Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy trim, and it seriously got me questioning what the lines are between luxury and non-luxury. When you look at this thing, you can tell right away this isn't just a typical Hyundai. All right, let's check out underneath the hood. What we have under here is a 3.8 liter V6 with direct injection. Puts out 291 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque, and that is paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission. 0 to 60 time is 6.9 seconds. Fuel economy numbers are combined 21 miles per gallon. That's 19 in the city, 24 on the highway, and the capacity of the fuel tank is 18.8 gallons. The calligraphy trim is full of this satin chrome, which in my opinion looks a whole lot more premium than just shiny chrome. I think shiny chrome sometimes can look a little tacky if it's overdone, but this looks really good. This front grille is big and bold, and it certainly has a presence coming down the road. You get more of that trim going around the bottom. We have a split LED headlight setup. You got your turn signals up top. You have this split daytime running light that goes vertical. And then right in there, you got 2 projector beam LEDs for your low beam and your high beam. And the overall stance of the Palisade is just very muscular and strong. All of that chrome trim going around the windows and up on the roof rails and on the door handle. It all just looks really nice and premium, and again, not tacky because it's not super shiny. Got more of it on the bottom as well, and I think it looks really good against this white paint. Another reason it looks so premium is no flat black cladding anywhere on this car. Any black surfaces you see are a nice painted black instead of that hard plastic look. The mirrors have a nice two-tone look with the black on the bottom, and this is a really interesting turn signal design they put on the mirror, but it kind of matches the contour of the mirror, so I think it looks really good. But again, no flat black cladding along the bottom. The wheel arches are paint matched, and there's nothing on here that looks bad or out of place. I'm especially a big fan of these 20-inch wheels. These are exclusive to the calligraphy trim. It's got a lot of spokes, a little busy, but I think it suits the car well. This is riding on Hankook Ventus S1 Noble all-season tires, and the size is 245/50. Palisade also looks really good in the rear. We have nice full LED lights and turn signals that are stacked vertical, just like the headlights up front. Now, I always thought this trim piece next to it looked a little strange, not necessarily offensive, but I'm not really sure exactly what purpose it serves, but it's there. Palisade is spelled out nice and big along the back. On the bottom, we have a really big reflector that goes all the way across, more of that satin chrome finish, and then you got your reverse lights down at the bottom. I'm not the biggest fan of when they put lights all the way down at the bottom, but I guess better the reverse lights than the turn signals. The exhaust looks really nice too. It's squared off, got some nice chrome tips on it, and as you can see, they're fully functional and not fake. And now, heading back into the cargo area, there's some important questions that we need to answer here, like how many Jasons can fit behind the third row?
I think 2. Maybe if you cut the legs off, maybe 3.
Yeah, you could definitely fit the legs down here and get 3. But all right, all jokes aside, you do get 18 cubic feet of cargo space behind the third row. And now remember earlier I was saying this can compete with Genesis. So now we're gonna start to see some of those features. So we have powered buttons for these third row seats. So we can drop with one push. Takes a little while. It'll get there. There we go. Behind the second row, you now have 45.8 cubic feet of space. Oh, and did I mention we can also bring those both back up? The second row seats aren't quite powered like the third row seats. It's more like just a latch being released as opposed to it having a motor bringing it all the way down. But once you fold down everything, 86.4 cubic feet of cargo space. And did I mention those third row seats can also be controlled from over here? And you also get a 12 volt. Another feature from the GV80 that is also on this Palisade is remote start parking assist, also known as Smart Park. First, we're gonna lock the car, press and hold to turn it on. Now, if I want to move it forward, I just press and hold the arrow pointing forward. Look at that. As you can see, there is no one hiding in the car driving it. And I can go back. And a quick shout out to this video sponsor, FitCam X. FitCam X is a custom hardwired 4K dash cam that is made for your specific car's interior with no exposed wires showing. And it connects to your phone via the FitCam X app. And they're offering all my viewers 10% off everything on their site using promo code OPTICAL. Link in the description. One thing I do want to say to the people who buy Hyundai Palisades and love them, I understand. Before Hyundai sent me this Palisade, I didn't really know much about the Palisade, and my expectations really weren't that high. But I have been thoroughly amazed by this car. All the amenities that it offers, especially for the price point. Now, this Palisade is as luxurious as it can be for the price. So with that price factor in mind, you are going to notice some things missing that you would see in a Genesis, but remember, $25,000 less. So for example, this trim right here kind of looks like wood, but it's not, it's fake. But it is textured and actually does a pretty good job at faking it. It is soft touch up on the dash. On a Genesis, it would be either leatherette or leather, but it is still decent. It is a lot softer down here. This feels like it might be leatherette. I could be wrong, but it feels good. And all that satin chrome we saw on the outside, there's more of it on the inside on this air vent here. It looks like one air vent going all the way across, but it is blocked off here in the middle, but you can't really tell. So it looks nice and cohesive and clean. As for the AC controls, I do like to have more physical buttons than it being in the screen, but it has its own little display here. So at least you don't have to go searching through here to try to find your AC controls. They're all right here on this small little display. The center console is also nice and clean. This knob here is a little big, but you don't have like a gear shifter sticking out. Everything is nice and flat, and it just contributes to the cabin kind of feeling a bit more roomy. And even some of the little details like this, that just slides back so nice and smooth. And it's got like a soft texture on it too. Okay, the attention to detail, like the stitched leatherette here on the side of the console, because they know your knee is going to be resting against it, so they made that nice and soft. The entire headliner from the A-pillar all the way into the cargo area is all suede. Okay, in a non-luxury car, you don't see that, so that's really nice. And they didn't leave anything out. The visors are all suede. Even the cover for the moonroof, also suede. It's all these little things that separate this Palisade from the competition. Now, to keep this at a lower price point, they can't include all the features that you get on a luxury car. So for example, this one does not have power folding mirrors. But with everything this does have, I'm kind of nitpicking here. Okay, the door panel has the same materials as the dash, that soft upper, the faux wood that still looks pretty good. Another luxury touch this car has is Napa leather. So this side panel here is leather. We have this really nice detailed stitching, and they incorporated the perforations into the design too. The leather on the armrest is also very soft. And this trim here on the door, it kind of mimics aluminum. Now it's plastic, don't get me wrong. And all the controls here on the door, with them being silver instead of black, that's another thing that elevates it. And this speaker grille for the Harman Kardon audio system also looks great. So like I said, these seats are Napa leather. Power extendable thigh supports. That's also not something you typically see in a non-luxury car. Black contrast piping, a whole lot of intricate stitching, just like on the door panel, how they incorporated the perforations with the stitching to just make it a really nice design that just pops. The entire seating surface is perforated because these front seats are both heated and ventilated. And the front seats have what Hyundai calls ergo motion, which is kind of like a massager, but not quite. Basically, the lumbar support on the inside kind of moves around back and forth, so it kind of feels like a massage. I'll be honest, it's a feature I'm not like 100% sold on, but I know there is a lot of people out there that do like it. And also down here on the door sill, Palisade. And you know, this is cold to the touch, so this might be actual metal. Not 100% sure, but it certainly looks like it. This steering wheel is practically right out of a Genesis, especially with the two-tone colorway. You can see it's got black on the edges and white on the inside. Again, that nice satin finish on the Hyundai badge and going along the inside here. I like how this wheel has multiple different positions where you can grab it. You can grab it from the bottom, from underneath the 9 and 3. Got nice bolsters here at 10 and 2. And again, those silver control buttons and the paddle shifters all just makes it feel really premium. Steering wheel is also heated. Almost forgot, 2 memory settings for the driver. So right above the wheel here, a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. I like that it still shows gauges. You have your speedometer and tachometer off to the right there. There's a lot of different information you can have it show here, like tire pressure. You have your adaptive cruise control stuff there, drive info, trip computer, navigation route. So that all looks really nice. Another great feature Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis all do is this turn signal camera on both sides to see what's in your blind spot before, switching lanes on the highway. Very useful. This is something I think every car should have. Now, some of the newer Hyundai models have the one screen that goes all the way across that incorporates the gauge and the infotainment. And I know the 2026 Palisade, when it comes out, will have that, but I do prefer the gauge cluster to be set back a little bit, because I think when you have it right there, it's like right in your face. And yeah, I think it just looks better set back. Also, with it being set back, this helps the top of it kind of become like a sun visor. So when the sun hits it, it has a little bit of shielding from it. Okay, 12-inch infotainment touchscreen. Ton of functionality, but I will start with my one issue with it, and that's the CarPlay. In this car specifically, it only works using a wire. There is no wireless CarPlay. Now, Hyundai has promised an over-the-air software update that will allow this to use wireless Apple CarPlay. And I know they're not lying, because some of the Genesis models, like the 2025 GV80, some of them did get the over-the-air update, so some of them are wireless now. This specific Palisade I have here is pretty new, only 3,500 miles. Why they would send out a press car without it, not sure, but at least that's not going to be a permanent issue. But the screen is nice and bright, everything works good, and this has a lot of features. It has its own map, navigation system. You can record voice memos. You can configure a lot of custom settings with the climate controls. This also has passenger talk, which is basically an intercom system that amplifies your voice through the speakers in the back of the car. So if I hit that, I hit talk now, stop fighting in the back, can hear a bit of the echo in the voice. Oh, it's still on. Yeah, so you can hear a bit more of an echo in my voice because it is coming in through the speakers as well. This also has multicolor ambient lighting on the interior, and I'll switch to a shot of nighttime now. You can see there's ambient lighting strips going along the dash and on all 4 doors as well, and it just really elevates the driving experience at night. This Palisade Calligraphy gets the 12-speaker Harman Kardon audio system, so let's take a listen. My only criticism of the audio system is some of the mid-range frequencies are like a little muddy. They could be a little bit more clear, but other than that, I mean, the bass sounds great. It doesn't rattle. It handles the high volumes well. So overall, pretty good audio system. Now the camera system, when you throw it in reverse, get a backup camera and a 360. And this also has that same system as Genesis with the 3D model of the car that you can spin around and see your surroundings pretty well. Now heading back down here for a minute, you do get a wireless charger, but as you can see, the phone's still plugged in anyway. And there's a big opening down here underneath the center console. You get a 12 volt and a USB-C in there. Inside the center console, there's a nice little tray there at the top. You can keep spare change or whatever else. And inside you get another USB-C and another 12 volt. But that is a pretty big center console. You can see that ambient lighting kind of poking through right there, that nice purple. Inside the glove box, it's like a little bit bigger than average, so decent size glove box. So up here in the front, we get a standard size moonroof, but in the rear, there's a second one that's a little bit bigger, so I guess it's technically a pano, but it's split. But the only difference, that one in the second row does not open. On this calligraphy trim, we also get a digital rear view mirror. All right, now heading back into the second row, when the door closes, it just sounds nice and solid. So here on the rear door panel, it's all the same materials as up front. They didn't cheap out in the back. The soft touch, the fake wood grain, the leather, all that. Tweeter speaker, 2 cup holders right in the door. Big storage pocket there. I have the driver's seat adjusted for myself, me being 6 feet tall. These second row captain's chairs can slide forward and back and recline. Now, if you slide all the way forward, yeah, that's not gonna work. But let's see, the furthest back you can go. Okay, now it's the furthest back, so there's a ton of room there, probably 6 inches to spare. So certainly nice and spacious back here. Now you get a pocket behind each seat and a little like net one there. I guess you can put your phone. Second row passengers also get sunshades. In the second row, we do get the captain's chairs with the same Napa leather. They do each get an armrest, and both of the seat backs in the front get a USB-C. Down in the center, another 12 volt and a full-sized home power outlet with the third prong. We have a temperature control center down here. Each second row passenger does get an air vent up in the ceiling. Oh, and did I mention that both captain's chairs are both heated and ventilated? That's impressive. Some luxury cars won't even give you second row ventilated seats. But for the rear, you can control the temperature, the fan speed, and the zone. And also with these captain's chairs, you got a nice pass through in the middle here to get into the third row. All right, 6 feet tall. This is all the way back. So yeah, my knees are touching. That's not very comfortable. But remember, that guy in the front has all that extra room. So if you ask him nicely, he might slide up to give you a little more room. So now with that front seat slid up a bit, now I got enough room. That nice suede headliner extends all the way to the very back. Third row passengers get the air vents as well. We also get 2 more USB-C ports and heated seats in the third row. Another reason you should get this over the GV80, there's more room, and let's be honest, that third row version of the GV80, that third row is completely useless. You can't fit anything in there because that car is not meant to have a third row. In this car, you can comfortably road trip with 6 adults. The middle seat in the third row is a bit small, so if you have a kid with you, I'd put the kid here because 3 adults in this third row is going to be a bit tight, but 6 can definitely travel comfortably. All right, and now we're behind the wheel of the 2025 Palisade Calligraphy. And like I said, just so many things about this car surprised me, especially just the way how upscale it feels. The thing that's most impressive for me with the driving experience is just how quiet it is in here. When you're talking about luxury cars, the level of noise inside the cabin is kind of one of those key indicators of quality and like just how luxurious a car really is. And I'm not even exaggerating when I say that this Palisade is as quiet as a Lexus. This is quieter than any Acura I've ever driven, and as a Honda fanboy, that kind of hurts me to say, but it's 100% true. The suspension is also soft. That contributes to the luxurious feeling. It's just a very smooth ride, even with the 20-inch wheels. Now, it does have a 50 series sidewall, so there's a good amount of cushion there in the sidewall, but still, the wheels are relatively big, and that really does not impact the ride quality whatsoever. Now, this does have a whole bunch of different drive modes: comfort, sport, eco, smart, and snow. I've been leaving it primarily in comfort just because of how nice the ride is, but once we go into the acceleration test, we will be testing that out in sport. All right, I got it in sport mode. I'm gonna come to a stop up here and try the acceleration. I come into a complete stop here, and 60. Now in sport mode, the engine idles right around like 1700 RPM. The engine note's actually nice. It's got a nice snarl to it. But I will say on the acceleration, there isn't a whole lot of low-end torque. So when you're in first gear going off the line, it has to get up a bit in the RPMs before you really feel it kick in. But once you get into second gear, it feels like the torque kicks in quicker. And also pick up on the highway when you need to speed up once you're already in motion, no issues. And when you make some quick, sharp turns, tiny bit of body roll. I mean, it is still a pretty tall SUV, and it's a 3-row SUV. It's quite large. And as far as the steering goes, it's quite nicely balanced. And it's also pretty quick to respond. MSRP of this 2025 Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy is $54,700. Big thank you to Hyundai for sending me this Palisade to keep for an entire week so that I can give you guys the most thorough review possible. Please let me know your thoughts on the Palisade Calligraphy down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please share with a friend and subscribe. It'll really help the channel grow. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. Let me know down in the comments what other vehicles you want to see on the channel next. And be sure to follow @Optical Automotive on TikTok and Instagram, and check out the page on Facebook. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.